The galaxy had known peace for decades, held in fragile balance by ancient alliances and cautious diplomacy. But peace often masked the unseen, the unknown, and beyond the familiar charts of mapped space, in the dark, unexplored void of the Terran system. Something had stirred. The warship emerged like a ghost from the shadows, a colossal silhouette cutting through the void with undeniable purpose. Its hull was unlike any known design, sleek yet formidable, with panels that shimmered with a strange iridescence that no sensor could fully decode. It carried no standard insignia, no familiar markings. To the distant empires watching, it was a question mark wrapped in mystery. Inside the command deck of the HSS Vigilant, Captain Elena Gray stood silently before the panoramic viewport. The stars stretched infinitely before her, but all her focus was on what lay ahead, the vast unknown and the reactions it would provoke. Behind her, the ship's AI reported in its calm, mechanical voice, "Approaching galactic border. No known. Vessels detected within sensor range. All systems optimal." Elena nodded, her fingers lightly tracing the edge of the console. This mission was not merely exploration, it was a message. A declaration that humanity had returned to the stage of the stars. For centuries, humanity had remained hidden within its solar system, rebuilding after wars that nearly fractured their civilization. The Terran system itself had expanded in secret, advanced in technology and unity. Now the Vigilant was the vanguard, the first human warship to step beyond known space in generations. The galaxy was watching. The great empires, the Za'Tari Confederation, the Krill Dominion, the peaceful Yatari Alliance, had detected the sudden appearance of the ship, triggering alerts across star systems. Diplomats whispered in corridors, generals called emergency meetings. What was this Terran warship? Friend or foe? Ambition or warning? Elena understood their hesitation. Humans had a reputation. Stories passed between species of their stubborn resilience, their unpredictable spirit. Yet no one expected a vessel like this. Too large for a mere scout, too advanced for a simple colony ship, and yet undeniably armed. Her comm officer interrupted her thoughts. "Captain, we are receiving incoming transmissions. Multiple signals, all in universal code but none fully translated." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Patch them through." One by one, messages poured in, urgent, curious, cautious. From the Za'Tari, "Identify yourselves. State your intentions." From the Krill, "Surrender your vessel. You trespass on sovereign space." From the Yatari, "We seek peaceful contact. Please respond." Elena held up her hand, signaling silence. She tapped the console, and the Vigilance communication system broadcasted a single, clear message in the universal frequency. This message would be their introduction, not just words, but a reflection of humanity's resolve. "Terrans of Earth," Elena began, her voice steady and confident. "We come not as conquerors but as explorers. We seek understanding and dialogue. Our presence is a declaration. Humanity has risen from the shadows and stands ready to engage with the galaxy. We respect peace but will defend our right to exist and thrive." The message echoed across space, traveling faster than any fleet could, stirring reactions from silence to shock. Back on the bridge, Elena watched the viewer as responses flickered in real time. Some vessels held their positions, hesitant. Others moved closer, their weapons powered but not aimed. It was a delicate dance. One false move could ignite a war. But Elena knew the true power of her ship was not just in its armaments or shields. It was in what humanity represented: adaptability, determination, the unyielding will to survive and rise above. For the first time in centuries, humanity was no longer hidden. The galaxy had a new player, unpredictable, strong, and willing to be heard. Elena exhaled slowly and turned to her crew. Prepare for first contact protocols. We show them who we are, not just with weapons, but with honor. As the Vigilant sailed toward the unknown, a shadow beyond the stars, the galaxy held its breath. The balance of power had begun to shift. The Vigilant moved steadily toward the border where the known galaxy ended and the unknown began. Captain Elena Gray stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the information flowing across the ship's consoles. The alien warships shadowing their approach maintained a careful distance, weapons ready but restrained. For all their curiosity and suspicion, none had yet fired a shot. The ship's communications officer, Lieutenant Haru, tapped rapidly at his console. "We've received a transmission from the Zaytari flagship, Vorakthar. They're requesting a formal introduction and a statement of intent." Elena nodded. "Put them on open channel." The bridge fell silent except for the faint hum of the ship's systems. A shimmering holographic figure flickered into existence, a tall, angular Zaytari diplomat with multiple eyes and glistening skin that reflected the dim light. "Terran warship Vigilant, your sudden appearance has caused great unrest. The Zaytari Confederation demands to know your purpose. Why have you crossed into our space without warning?" Elena stepped forward, her voice steady and respectful. "Esteemed representatives of the Zaytari Confederation, I am Captain Elena Gray of the Terran Star Command. Our ship represents humanity's first step beyond our home system in generations. We come seeking peaceful contact and mutual understanding. Our arrival is not a threat, but an invitation to dialogue." The Zaytari diplomat's many eyes blinked, in rapid succession. "Your words speak of peace, yet your vessel's armaments and size are unmatched in these sectors. Why reveal such power so abruptly?" Elena glanced at her officers. "Our technology is a testament to what humanity has become. Resilient, unified, and prepared for challenges both seen and unforeseen. We understand the need for caution and respect. But we also believe that strength ensures peace. We are here to build alliances, not enemies." A ripple of murmurs passed through the nearby alien warships, their commanders exchanging uncertain glances. Suddenly, another transmission burst onto the channel. The voice was smoother, melodic, and calm, the representative of the Yatari Alliance. "Captain Gray," the Yatari envoy said, "we welcome your message. The Yatari believe that strength must be tempered with compassion. Perhaps humanity can show us a new path. Will you permit an envoy from our people to visit your ship?" Elena smiled subtly. "We would be honored to host your envoy." Meanwhile, a terse message crackled from the Krill Dominion's flagship. "Your presence unsettles the established order. Withdraw or face consequences." Elena's jaw tightened. "We will not be intimidated, but we will not seek conflict either. Our mission is peace through strength." As the exchanges continued, the Vigilant's sensors picked up unusual energy readings from the distant asteroid field, blocking a vital trade route. Years ago, the region had become a dead zone, too hazardous for navigation, endangering the economies of several nearby star systems. Lieutenant Haru reported, "The asteroid cluster is unstable and growing. It threatens to collapse. The entire trade corridor." Elena's eyes sharpened. "Can the Vigilant clear it without causing damage to surrounding systems?" "The ship's precision armaments and mining lasers can dismantle it safely," Haru replied. Elena turned to her crew. "This is our chance to show our intent. Not just in words, but in action. Prepare to clear the asteroid field." Minutes later, the Vigilant moved into position. Alien commanders watched anxiously as the ship powered up its energy arrays. The operation began with meticulous care. The ship's advanced targeting systems locked onto the largest asteroids, carefully fracturing and vaporizing them. Smaller debris was magnetically collected and redirected into safe orbits, ensuring no collateral damage. As the field slowly cleared, communication channels lit up with astonished voices. The Krill ambassador was the first to break the silence. "Such precision! We have never seen technology like this." The Yetari envoy added, "Your actions speak louder than any message. Humanity brings not only power, but responsibility." Even the Zetari diplomat admitted, "This is an impressive demonstration." Back on the Vigilant, Captain Gray allowed herself a brief smile. The galaxy was watching, and humanity's first message was clear. Strength could be a force for peace. The arrival of the Terran warship had already begun to shift the galaxy's balance, and this was only the beginning. The asteroid field lay behind them, cleared with surgical precision by the Vigilant. Word of the Terran warship's capabilities spread through galactic channels faster than any official communique could travel. In the quiet moments before the next major encounter, Captain Elena Gray convened a meeting with her senior officers. "Humanity's arrival has sent ripples through every empire and alliance," she said, her gaze steady. "Some see us as a threat, others a potential ally. Our next move must be clear. Demonstrate that our strength is not reckless but measured, and that our power is meant to protect, not dominate." Lieutenant Haru nodded. "The message so far is resonating, but doubt remains. Many question whether we can control this power or if it will bring destruction." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Then it's time to show them." A week later, the Vigilant approached a remote sector known for its volatile gas clouds and unstable gravity wells. Intelligence had reported an ancient space station there, a relic from a long-lost civilization, now abandoned and hazardous. It blocked a key hyperspace lane, cutting off trade and communication for several nearby star systems. Elena addressed the bridge crew. "This station is unstable and dangerous. Its destruction has been impossible for decades without risking collateral damage. We will attempt a controlled dismantling, showing precision, power, and respect for all life." The ship's engineers hummed to life, and the advanced weapon systems powered up. But this was not a battle. The Vigilant's crews were preparing a carefully coordinated strike to dismantle the station piece by piece. As they moved into position, alien observers from several nearby factions had gathered in distant orbits, their sensors trained on the Terran vessel. The atmosphere was tense, a mix of fascination and apprehension. At Elena's command, the Vigilant began its operation. First, targeted pulses of energy were fired at the station's external structural supports. The blasts were precise and measured, causing controlled collapses that sent debris drifting safely into space, far from any inhabited planets or ships. Next, the ship deployed drones equipped with repair and salvage tools, navigating through the wreckage to secure valuable data modules and recover hazardous materials before the station was fully dismantled. Each step was executed with meticulous care, minimizing any chance of uncontrolled explosions or environmental damage. The alien commanders watched, their expressions unreadable through their helmets or holographic projections. Many had expected destruction. Instead, they witnessed mastery. One observer, a Krill admiral, muttered to his aide, "They wield their power like artists, not conquerors." The operation took hours, but by its conclusion, the space station was reduced to harmless debris, and the hyperspace lane was clear once more. Elena stood before the main viewer, watching the final moments of the dismantling sequence. "We show the galaxy today that strength is responsibility, that power, when guided by wisdom, can restore balance instead of breaking it." Following the operation, the Vigilant opened its communication channels for a galaxy-wide broadcast. Elena addressed all listening systems. "Citizens of the galaxy, the Terran warship Vigilant comes bearing a promise that humanity's strength will be used not to dominate, but to protect. Our technology is advanced, yes, but it is our will The will to defend, to aid, and to unite. That defines us. Messages of surprise and admiration poured in. Some factions, long skeptical, now expressed cautious hope. Others remained wary but intrigued. The Za'Tari diplomat, appearing once more on the channel, spoke thoughtfully. Your actions are unprecedented. If humanity can maintain this course, you may yet become a valued player in the galactic community. The Yatari envoy added, your strength is tempered by compassion. This is a rare combination. However, not all voices welcomed the change. A shadowy broadcast from the Krill Dominion warned, strength unchecked is chaos. The balance of power is delicate. Terrans, be warned. Back on the Vigilant, Elena reviewed the data. The galaxy was shifting beneath her feet. Old alliances were fracturing, new ones forming. The arrival of humanity was no longer a secret. It was a turning point. Her first officer, Commander Leora, approached. Captain, the political ramifications are vast. Some leaders already view us as a threat to their dominance. Elena nodded. Let them think what they will. We're here to change the game. Not with blind force, but with purpose. Leora smiled. A difficult path, but one only humanity could walk. Elena turned back to the stars. The galaxy doesn't know it yet, but we've just begun to write a new chapter. The Vigilant's demonstration of strength had left an indelible mark. Aliens who once dismissed humanity as a backwater species now whispered stories of the warship's precision, restraint, and power. The Terran arrival was no longer a question. It was a challenge and an opportunity, and the galaxy was listening. The Vigilant's demonstration echoed across the stars, rippling through diplomatic channels and war rooms alike. The galaxy was no longer the same. The arrival of humanity and their imposing warship had disrupted the old order. The delicate balance of power that had held for centuries was beginning to fracture. In the glittering halls of the Za'Tari Confederation's capital, high counselors gathered in urgent session. Holo displays flickered with images of the Vigilant dismantling the ancient station, its precision and restraint the talk of every corridor. Counselor Tharlan, a veteran strategist with sharp eyes, addressed the assembly. The Terrans are unlike any threat we have faced. They possess overwhelming power, yes, but they wield it with discipline. They have shown willingness to cooperate, but they are unpredictable. We must reconsider our stance. Across the galaxy, the Krill Dominion's response was less measured. Supreme Commander Vexak convened his war council in a cavernous chamber lit by crimson holo projections. Their power threatens our dominance. The galaxy is theirs to claim if we allow it. We must prepare our fleets for possible conflict. The Yatari Alliance, known for their diplomacy and emphasis on balance, reached out with open communication channels. Ambassador Sira sent a personal envoy to the Vigilant, hoping to establish a lasting dialogue based on mutual respect and shared goals. Meanwhile, smaller factions and independent systems began to weigh their options. Many saw in humanity a chance to tip the scales in their favor, to escape from old rivalries and forge new alliances. On board the Vigilant, Captain Elena Gray observed the changing landscape with keen interest. The galaxy is testing us, she told her officers during a strategy briefing. Some seek friendship, others suspicion. We must be vigilant but open. Commander Leora reviewed incoming intelligence. Several smaller systems have sent proposals for alliance or trade. The major powers remain divided, but cracks are appearing. Elena nodded. We are no longer just visitors. We are players. The first significant diplomatic breakthrough came when the Terrans accepted an invitation to the Yatari homeworld, a planet known for its breathtaking azure oceans and towering crystal spires. The Yatari welcomed the Vigilance envoys with ceremony and warmth. Ambassador Sira greeted Captain Gray personally. Your arrival offers hope. hope that strength and peace can coexist. The discussions focused on establishing trade routes, scientific exchange, and mutual defense agreements. The Atari shared insights into galactic history and political intricacies, helping humanity navigate a complex web of alliances, but not all encounters were so welcoming. On a border station, near the Krill Dominion, a tense meeting unfolded. Krill officials voiced thinly veiled threats, warning humanity against interfering in what they called the natural order. Captain Gray responded calmly but firmly, "We seek no conflict, but we will not allow threats to dictate our path." The Krill delegation left the meeting room with expressions of displeasure, but also with a newfound respect for the Terran resolve. Back on the Vigilant, tensions ran high as covert actions from various factions tested humanity's limits. Spies attempted to infiltrate the ship's systems. Saboteurs tried to disrupt supply chains, but every threat was met with vigilance and resilience. Lieutenant Haru reported one such incident. "We detected unauthorized attempts to access our navigation controls. Security protocols activated. Intruder neutralized." Captain Gray placed a hand on his shoulder. "Good work. The galaxy is watching and testing. We must be ready for anything." The political shifts accelerated as alliances reconfigured. The Zatari Confederation began cautiously engaging with humanity, sending diplomats to open talks on technology sharing and joint exploration. At the same time, the Krill Dominion strengthened their military presence near human-controlled space, signaling that tensions could erupt into open conflict at any moment. Amidst the shifting alliances, a new coalition formed, the Stellar Accord, a group of mid-level factions, and independent systems seeking stability and security. They looked to humanity's Vigilant as a symbol of strength and hope, inviting Captain Gray to serve as an honorary representative. Elena accepted, knowing that her role was no longer just as a warship captain, but as a leader shaping the galaxy's future. As the Vigilant prepared to depart the Yatari system, Elena reflected on the rapid changes unfolding. "The galaxy is like a star caught in a gravity well," she said to her first officer. "Old orbits are breaking, new paths are forming. Humanity's arrival is the catalyst." Leora smiled. "And we have only just begun to influence that path." Elena gazed out at the swirling stars beyond the viewport. "We must be careful. Our strength can inspire peace or provoke war. It's our choice." The arrival of the Terran warship had done more than announce humanity's presence. It had awakened a galaxy to new possibilities and new dangers. Old alliances were no longer secure, new alliances were yet to be tested, and the balance of power was tipping, with humanity at its center. The Stellar Accord was born of uncertainty and hope. A coalition of independent systems and middle powers, it sought to stabilize a galaxy shaken by humanity's sudden arrival. Captain Elena Gray of the Vigilant had been named honorary representative, a role that demanded far more than military command. It required diplomacy, vision, and patience. On board the Vigilant, the mood was cautious but optimistic. The crew knew that every step forward would be met with suspicion. Even allies were quick to question intentions, and enemies lurked nearby, waiting for a misstep. As the ship cruised through the vibrant Yatari system on its way to the Accord summit, Elena reviewed the latest intelligence. "The Krill Dominion has increased patrols near the outer rim. They're watching us." Lieutenant Haru frowned. "Their forces are positioning to isolate us. We could be cut off." Elena's voice was steady. "That's why trust is our greatest weapon and our greatest risk." The summit took place on a neutral space station orbiting a gas giant known as Orcs Prime. Delegates from dozens of systems gathered in vast chambers shimmering with ambient light. The Stellar Accord's founding document was to be ratified, a promise of mutual aid and collective defense. Captain Gray stood among them, representing humanity with the calm authority that had earned her respect across the stars. The initial Sessions were diplomatic in tone, with speeches emphasizing peace, cooperation, and shared prosperity. Yet beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Questions of leadership, resource sharing, and security arrangements sparked quiet but intense debates. Suddenly, the chamber's communication systems crackled with urgent alerts. Security officers rushed the room as a holographic warning flashed. Before the delegates, a nearby outpost in the system had suffered a devastating attack. Sensors showed an unidentified fleet, cloaked and aggressive, had destroyed the installation without warning. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. "Who could have done this?" a Zeltran delegate whispered. The Krill envoy's face hardened. "This is a message. Chaos will reign if we allow new powers to disrupt order." Elena raised her hand. "We do not yet know who is responsible, but we must respond with clarity and unity, not suspicion." The Stellar Accord agreed to send a joint investigation team, with the Vigilant leading the effort. Elena's ship moved swiftly toward the attack site, its crew preparing for potential confrontation. At the devastated outpost, the investigation revealed signs of sophisticated weaponry and stealth technology, far beyond anything previously encountered in the region. The attack was calculated, precise, meant to send a warning without escalating into full war. Lieutenant Haru studied the data. The tech signatures don't match Krill or Zetarii models. This could be a third party. Elena's eyes narrowed. Then who else? As the investigation unfolded, it became clear the attacker was a previously unknown faction. Shadowy, elusive, and armed with technologies that could challenge even humanity's advanced systems. Their motives were unclear, but the impact was immediate. Fear and mistrust began to rise among the Accord members. Back at the summit, accusations flew. The Krill Dominion blamed the Yatari Alliance for lax security. The Zetarii Confederation suggested the attack was a ploy to destabilize the region. Humanity's role was questioned. Some wondered if the Vigilant's presence had provoked the assault. Elena stepped forward to address the assembly. "We face a threat not from each other, but from those who seek to divide us. Our strength lies in unity. We must stand together against this shadow." Her words resonated. The delegates, weary of conflict, began to see the truth in her message. The investigation continued, with the Vigilant coordinating patrols and gathering intelligence. The Shadow faction remained elusive, striking only when and where they chose, avoiding open battle. Captain Gray realized that this was more than a test of strength. It was a test of trust. The galaxy was watching to see if humanity could lead, not just with power, but with wisdom and integrity. One evening, as she stood alone on the ship's observation deck, Leora joined her. "Do you think they'll trust us?" Leora asked quietly. Elena looked to the stars. Trust is earned, not given, and sometimes it's the hardest battle of all. Despite the tension, the Stellar Accord held firm. Through careful diplomacy, shared intelligence, and combined patrols, the Shadow faction's influence was contained, though not eliminated. Humanity's reputation grew, not only as a formidable force, but as a steadfast ally in uncertain times. But the message was clear. The galaxy's peace was fragile, and threats came not only from known empires, but from the darkness beyond the borders. The arrival of the Vigilant had shifted the balance of power. Now the real challenge began, to keep that balance, and to prove that humanity's strength was a shield for peace, not a hammer for conquest. The calm after the summit was fragile. The Stellar Accord's uneasy alliance held, but the Shadow, faction that had attacked the outpost, remained an enigma. Their elusive strikes sent ripples of fear through the galaxy's core systems, challenging the newfound hope humanity had sparked. Aboard the Vigilant, Captain Elena Gray stood before the strategic display, the glowing map of star systems dotted with red markers showing recent attacks. The mystery faction was spreading, striking at supply lines, communication hubs, and smaller settlements. Never full fleets, always swift, precise, and disappearing before retaliation. Lieutenant Haru looked up from his console. Our sensors caught a brief signal spike near the Narration sector, possibly a forward base or staging area for the Shadow Fleet. Elena's jaw tightened. Can we get a lock? Not yet. They use advanced stealth tech beyond our current countermeasures. Commander Leora entered the room. Captain, the Stellar Accord leaders are growing impatient. They want action, but with minimal risk. Elena nodded. They don't see what we face. This isn't just war. It's a war in the shadows. The Vigilant adjusted course, heading toward the Narration sector. The crew worked tirelessly to refine their sensors, to detect even the faintest trace of the hidden enemy. As they approached, tension thickened on the bridge. The stars outside seemed darker, the unknown pressing in. Suddenly alarms blared. Sensors picked up multiple fast-moving contacts emerging from a cloaked position. "Battle stations!" Elena commanded. The enemy fleet was smaller but highly agile, shadowy vessels that darted through space like predators. They fired plasma bursts designed to disable rather than destroy, aiming to disable the Vigilant's shields and systems without causing irreversible damage. Elena ordered evasive maneuvers. "Focus on defense. We do not want to escalate, but we cannot back down." The bridge crew fought in unison. The Vigilant's advanced point defense systems intercepted many attacks, while energy shields held under pressure. Lieutenant Haru analyzed the enemy tactics. "They're probing for weaknesses, testing our responses. Then we'll give them none," Elena said firmly. After a tense standoff lasting minutes that felt like hours, the enemy fleet suddenly retreated into the shadows, vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. The Vigilant's sensors searched, desperately, but found no trace. Later in the ship's conference room, Elena addressed her officers. This was a message. They want to show they can reach us anywhere, anytime. But they also didn't want full conflict. Commander Leora tapped her datapad. Their stealth tech is unlike anything we've seen. If they develop it further, they could threaten the entire Stellar Accord. "We need to counter it," Elena said, not with brute force, but with innovation. The crew set to work, collaborating on new sensor arrays, advanced AI-driven detection systems, and electronic countermeasures designed to peel away the shadows. Meanwhile, political pressures mounted. Several Stellar Accord members began questioning the cost of standing with humanity against an unseen enemy. Trade disruptions and border skirmishes fueled calls for withdrawal. During a tense holo conference, a prominent Zeltron delegate voiced concerns. "Captain Gray, the threat you face may be real, but our people suffer. We need assurances that the Accord's involvement will not drag us into endless conflict." Elena answered calmly. "The shadows will strike anywhere without warning. If we do not stand united, none will be safe. Trust in this. Humanity is committed to peace, but we will defend the galaxy from threats, seen and unseen." Her words echoed through the assembly, but the challenge remained. Trust was hard won, and the Shadow Faction's strikes made it easier to doubt. One night, as the Vigilant glided through a quiet sector, a coded transmission arrived, encrypted but unmistakably human in origin. Elena listened as the message decrypted, a distress call from a hidden human colony deep in uncharted space. The colony had been attacked by unknown assailants, matching the Shadow Faction's tactics. The revelation shocked the crew. Humanity had secrets buried deep in the stars, places far beyond even the Stellar Accord's reach. Elena knew this changed everything. The warship's mission was no longer just about diplomacy or deterrence. It was a fight for survival, of humanity and the entire galaxy. The Vigilant changed course again, heading toward the distant, hidden colony. The crew prepared for what might be the most dangerous mission yet. Elena stood on the observation, deck, staring into the endless dark. "We face enemies in shadows," she whispered. "But the brightest light breaks through any darkness." The galaxy's balance was fragile, but humanity's arrival had sparked a beacon. And now, the Vigilant would lead the fight to protect it. The Vigilant surged through the void, engines humming steadily as it raced toward the distant coordinates of the hidden Terran colony. The message had been brief but urgent, a distress signal encoded with human technology, unmistakably a plea for help. Captain Elena Gray stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the starfield ahead. The galaxy beyond was vast, filled with unknown dangers and mysteries. Yet now, the threat was no longer theoretical or diplomatic. It had struck at the heart of humanity itself. Lieutenant Haru's voice broke the tense silence. "Approaching. System, scans show severe damage to orbital installations. Life signs faint but present." Elena nodded. "Prepare a reconnaissance team. We need to assess the colony's condition and secure any survivors." The reconnaissance shuttle descended through the fractured atmosphere of the colony's homeworld. Below, ruined buildings and scorched landscapes stretched as far as sensors could reach. The attack had been swift, brutal, leaving the settlement in chaos. Captain Elena joined the team, determined to understand the full scope of the assault. Among the survivors were scientists, engineers, families, people who had fled Earth generations ago to explore humanity's frontiers, hidden in the shadows of the galaxy. Their existence had been a secret to most, known only to a few within the highest Terran command. One survivor, an older man named Dr. Elias Vorn, explained the colony's plight. "We were developing new sensor arrays and defensive systems. The Shadow faction must have found us. Their attack came without warning. We lost communication with the Accord and feared the worst." Elena's jaw clenched. "We're here now. We'll protect you." The colony's weakened defenses were no match for the Shadow faction's technology. But the arrival of the Vigilant brought hope. Using advanced repair drones and mobile shield generators, the crew worked tirelessly to stabilize critical infrastructure. Yet the threat was far from over. Sensors soon detected a shadow fleet lurking at the system's edge, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. Elena convened her officers. "They want to finish this quickly to send a message, but we will not give them that chance." Lieutenant Haru plotted a defensive perimeter. "We'll use the terrain and the colony's remaining assets to set traps and ambushes." Commander Leora prepared the ship's offensive systems. "We'll engage on our terms." The ensuing battle was unlike any the Vigilant had faced. The Shadow Fleet attacked with speed and stealth, weaving in and out of sensor range, striking, and retreating before full countermeasures could be deployed, Elena commanded with steady resolve. "Hold your positions. Focus fire on the enemy's support vessels. Without them, their stealth technology falters." The Vigilance advanced. Weapons tore through enemy ships, forcing the Shadow faction into retreat. But not before they unleashed a devastating plasma barrage aimed at the colony's power grid. Emergency protocols activated, but the damage was severe. Lights flickered, and vital systems faltered. Among the chaos, Elena spotted a pattern in the enemy's movements, an unexpected vulnerability. "Target their command ship," she ordered. "If we disable their leadership, the fleet will lose cohesion." The battle intensified as the Vigilant concentrated fire on the Shadow Fleet's command vessel. Shields shimmered and cracked under the relentless assault. With a final, focused strike, the command ship's systems failed. The Shadow Fleet faltered, scattering into the void. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but Elena remained cautious. "They will return," she warned. This was only a setback. In the aftermath, the colony began rebuilding under the protection of the Vigilant. Communication with the Stellar Accord was restored, rallying additional support. Elena met with Dr. Vorn privately. "Why were you so deeply hidden? Why keep this colony secret?" Vorn sighed. "We believed isolation was safety. But now we see that the galaxy is interconnected. Secrets only make us vulnerable. Elena nodded. Then it's time to bring humanity's hidden frontier into the light. The victory was a turning point. The Shadow faction's reach had been challenged, their presence exposed. The Stellar Accord grew stronger, uniting to face common threats. Yet the battle had also revealed the stakes. The galaxy was a dangerous place, full of shadows and hidden enemies, and humanity's role was more crucial than ever. Captain Elena. Gray stood once again on the observation deck of the Vigilant, gazing out at the stars. The journey was far from over. The galaxy is vast, she murmured, and we have only begun to defend it. The battle for the hidden colony marked a turning point, not just for the Vigilant and its crew, but for the entire galaxy. The Shadow faction had been unmasked, their tactics revealed to the Stellar Accord and its allies. Yet despite their setback, the threat had not vanished. The galaxy was still a place of uncertainty, where peace was a fragile thread woven through the darkness. Captain Elena Gray stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, the hum of the engines a steady reminder of the ship's power and purpose. Before her stretched the starfield, bright, endless, filled with possibilities and dangers alike. The colony is secure, reported Lieutenant Haru. Reinforcements from the Accord fleets are arriving to aid in rebuilding and defense. Elena nodded. Good. This victory belongs to all of us, but it is only the beginning. In the months that followed, the Stellar Accord grew stronger, forged in the fires of shared struggle. Humanity's presence had become a beacon of hope and stability, inspiring smaller factions and independent systems to join the alliance. Ambassador Sierra of the Yatari Alliance met with Elena in the Vigilance conference room. Your leadership has changed the course of the galaxy, she said with quiet respect. We look to Terrans not just as warriors, but as partners. Elena smiled. We have much to learn and much to offer. Together, we can build a future where strength protects peace. Yet not all were ready to embrace the new order. The Krill Dominion, though battered by recent events, remained defiant. Their fleets massed along strategic borders, a silent reminder that old rivalries would not fade overnight. Captain Gray knew that the path ahead required vigilance and diplomacy in equal measure. The Vigilant would continue to patrol the frontiers, a symbol of humanity's commitment to peace, but prepared to respond with force if necessary. One evening, as the Vigilant sailed through the calm void, Elena convened her senior staff. We've faced shadows and secrets, enemies hidden in darkness. But our greatest strength is not our weapons. It is our unity, our resolve, and our willingness to stand together. Commander Leora nodded. The galaxy will watch us. We must be worthy of that trust. Elena turned to Lieutenant Haru. Prepare to send out new sensor arrays. We will seek out those who hide in the dark and bring them into the light. Haru's eyes gleamed with determination. Yes, Captain. As the Vigilant continued its mission, the crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were no longer just explorers or warriors, they were guardians of a fragile peace, architects of a new era. The Terran warship that had once startled the galaxy with its power now stood as a beacon of hope and cooperation. Its presence reminded all that even in the vast darkness of space, light could shine bright, and that humanity's arrival was not a threat, but a promise. On the observation deck, Elena gazed out at the stars, her thoughts reaching far beyond the horizon. The galaxy is vast, full of challenges we have yet to face, she mused. But with every step forward, we write a new story, one of courage, unity, and hope. She turned to her crew, her family in this endless journey. Together, we will protect this new dawn, for humanity, for the galaxy, and for all who seek peace among the stars. The Vigilant surged onward, a shining symbol in the darkness, heralding a future where humanity's strength was a force for good and the galaxy's balance was forever changed.